Good. So good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. And for those of us who are here, Baboshi and I, good evening. I want to welcome everybody so much to this meeting, and I'm hoping that we're all fine. I would like us to just sort of jump into the meeting immediately. So I'll share my screen and then we can start. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you so much for taking your time to come into this meeting. And I'm glad that everybody has been able to make it. This is our session number 11 since the Gender Liaisons started under Girls Inspire. And today we are going to be looking at gender stereotypes and gender roles. This is one of the topics that the partners identified that they wanted to be able to look at and discuss, and that is what we are going to spend a little bit of time on. So maybe before we begin, I'd like to just take a round and go through the partners and see who is here and who can say hello, and then we shall be able to know who has actually been able to join the meeting. So Sister Concept is actually the first one, because the first flag there is for is for Papua. Sister, you're able to unmute and say hello. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Sorry, last
Good
time I was not
afternoon.
able to attend. That's May. I was not
You're
able
welcome.
to attend. Sorry. Thank you so much. And I hope that we can learn more about something on women.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one we have is Solomon Island, Janet.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Look forward to be part of this meeting.
Thank you very much. Then we go to CMES.
Good morning, good evening, good night.
Did you hear me?
I'm Jackie Akhtar, CMS from Bangladesh.
Thank you very much, Zakia from CMES. Yes, Janet, we heard you. Then we go to Pakistan. Bidari, did I see?
Good morning from Pakistan. This is Samina from Bedari.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the meeting. Okay, then we go to Spark. Where is some is missing? Okay. Thank you. Chandi, WDC.
Good evening, Karen and Bosnia. Good morning, everyone elsewhere. Thank you for opportunity.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the meeting. ADPP.
Good evening or good night to you Canadians. Good morning to everyone. Mzi here, glad to be here.
Welcome, Z. Okay, let's move to Kenya Reap.
Hi everyone, good morning. This is Valerie from Kenya. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome, Valerie. Okay, great. CYO.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon. This is Faith Shirenda from Concerned Youth Organization. I'm glad to be here this morning. Thank you.
Welcome, Faith. Serati. Florida here. Florida does not seem to be here. Okay. And Dinalao from Commerce.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, Karen. I'm happy to be here.
welcome to the meeting. Yapo would be Victor.
Good evening, Karen.
Good evening.
Thank you. I'm glad to be at the meeting, and I hope that I will learning more. Thank you.
Welcome, Victor. And then Jacob.
Yeah, greetings to you all. Good morning, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow, today we have quite a full house. It is good to see that everybody has been able to come in. Maybe Bedari and Yap, no, just Bedari. Wow, maybe just Bedari. I hope they'll be able to join us later. So let's move in directly to the agenda. We have already done the greetings from the participants. Probably just to give the feedback from the previous session. There were 7 people who filled out the survey in full. 5 people filled it out partly. I think maybe did not manage either to complete or maybe during the uploading something went wrong. But I'm very thankful to everybody who was able to join in and fill out that survey, because then we were able to get some very good feedback. Remember that the session was meant to share the thing that was most significant to each one of us as gender liaisons within the past year. And what I loved so much was that as people were presenting, there was so much similarity in what we were saying that was significant to us. And all of these things, that the important thing was that we are focusing on inclusion, we are focusing on changing gender norms, and we are focusing on ensuring that we are improving the lives and livelihoods of the women that we work with and the girls that we work with. And it was really very good sharing. I think everybody enjoyed that session. And so maybe it's just to think that we will not say that there was anything in that session that was more useful than the other one, because everybody shared from their own perspective, and all those perspectives, I'm sure, have helped us to open our eyes. Because some of the feedback that was coming from the participant was, I learned what other people are doing and how I can also use it in my own project. There was participants who said that when we are talking about it, that the goal should always be for gender equality. And it is a really very good feedback that came from those of you who filled out the survey. And so thank you very much for that, for those responses. So when we think about the things that were shared, and when we think about the work that we have been doing as gender liaisons, perhaps also something to think about is, where are we going? What are we trying to do? And where are we headed to? Because it is easy to say we are training women and girls. Every year we're training women and girls. But at the end of the day, what do we want? Do we want a group of women and girls who have been trained, or do we want a group of women and girls who have changed their lives and who have transformed their lives? So I want to thank you all so much, because the work that you're doing is definitely trying to transform the lives of women and girls. So just to dive in also into what we are doing today, we want to ask ourselves a very interesting question. That is the agenda number 3, is to ask ourselves whether men and women are different. And it will help us to discuss the gender stereotypes and the gender roles. So I want to start with a quiz, and I hope that all of you had a chance to look through the PowerPoint when we sent it to you, so that we can do this quiz separately and then perhaps together. So if you have a piece of pen and paper near you, I should have asked you to come with a piece of pen and paper for this meeting. I would like us to go through this gender quiz and just give ourselves 2 or 3 minutes to answer the questions. So it's a true-false quiz. That is T for true and F for false. And the question that we're asking ourselves is, what are the answers to these questions? Are men and women different? So number 1 is women are the weaker sex. Number 2, boys are more group-centered, and so on all the way. And if you're ready, I would like you to take this quiz, and then we shall discuss the answers. Are we okay?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
I already done. I
Hello.
already did it
You
yesterday.
already some are already done and ready. It's okay. So I'm just going to give 2 minutes. They are very simple questions, and of course, there is no right or wrong answer. It just depends on what you think. Is there anybody who has not finished?
Okay. Karen,
Yes.
so anyone can start, or how is it going to be?
No, I wanted to find out if everybody has finished. And then we are going to score and then we are going to score ourselves, and then we shall talk about the scores.
Okay.
I want to move to the next slide, which shows the scores. So now here we all have to be very honest. Just score
Okay.
yourself. Because I cannot see you. You need to score yourself according to the next slide, and then we shall see what the scores were.
Okay.
So there are the answers. So check against your answers and see how many you got right.
Okay. So can we talk about it?
Jacob is very eager to start. Yes, you can say, how many did you get right?
I think I got 8.
Which ones did you get wrong? Which ones did you get wrong? Number?
I get number 6 and 7. Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay, let's hear somebody else who is willing to share their score.
I also have 8 out of 10. Number 2, I said it's false, because I don't think boys are more group-centered or active. I think it's a perception. And also, women talk more than men.
So you're wrong on number 2 and number? Okay,
4.
number 4.
I think it's just a generalization that people have.
Okay. Anyone else want to share what they got?
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
I got number 3 wrong.
Okay.
So number 3 is saying, what name say?
Number 3, women are more emotional than men.
So
okay,
it's saying that women are more emotional than men.
Okay.
A lot of men are more emotional as well.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you. Thank you. All right. Anybody else willing to share? You know, you don't have to share, but if you're willing to share what you got, it will be nice to hear.
Hi, Kiran.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 7. I was wondering that I was wrong in number 10. In fact, heart attack is more likely to be for women than for a man. Fatal for a women than I messed up actually that question. So because now only I read that it's women. So in Sri Lanka, it's true that men are the most. So when reading the question, I messed it up, and then. I was wondering, in fact, more women are not confident. That also I confused the question. So when reading the questions, I confused. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. That happens. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So just to maybe move on, because the time may not be all on our side, but what we have here is a set of true and false questions that try to challenge some of the things that we know. And so if we go back to the questions, sorry. The first question talks about women being the weaker sex. And this is a perception that is perhaps based on the fact that women are supposed to be not able to do some of the things that men are able to do. And unfortunately, it is an attribute that is talking about the fact that I am not as strong physically as a man, then means that I am also weak intellectually. And so the fact that women's bodies are made a little bit more different than men has now come to be used, that because they are weaker in terms of physical ability, then they are also weaker in terms of intellectual ability. The second one is quite true, that boys are more group-centered, they're more active, they're more aggressive than girls, especially when we consider that boys who are reaching the age of puberty, because of testosterone and because of the way their bodies are made, they're usually more active and more group-centered. Number 3 was false. It is false that women are not necessarily more emotional than men. But then the way in which children are brought up, as a boy, you're told, don't cry, don't show your tears, don't be too overexcited about things. And so when men grow up in that way, then they do not necessarily express their emotions. But that does not mean that men cannot feel sadness or happiness, or they want to, you know, just burst out laughing and so on. But society has put them in a box where you're told you're not supposed to show your tears because you're a man, or you're not supposed to be overexcited about things. When you see something like that makes you very happy, you just say, yeah, that's good, but you don't really express the way women would express. The next one, number 4, is that women talk more than men. That one is scientifically proven. Women do talk on average more than men. That does not mean there are no men who talk more than others, or that there are no women who talk less, but it just on a general pattern, women talk more than men. And the next one is also true, that women are likely to suffer from depression. This is also a scientific fact, that women are much more likely to get that, suffer from depression. They say that women are more likely than men to share personal information. That one is false. Men have been found to be more likely to share personal information than women. Women are a little bit, you know, like, do I really know you? Do I trust you? Before they share their personal information. But men will do it a little bit more faster, especially when they're sharing personal information with women. They are more, it is easier to, you know, like con them when it is a woman who is trying to deceive them.
Especially when they want to.
Number 7 is that, yes, that is very true. That is very true. The next one is that men smile more than women. That is false. Women is the ones who usually smile. Then number 8, they say that women and men don't care whether a baby is a boy or a girl. Truth is that both men and women care whether the baby is a boy or a girl, whether they prefer a girl, whether they prefer a boy, they actually do care about what is the gender of the baby. Number 9, women are not confident about managing their money. That one is very true, that they're not as confident as men in managing their money. Now, number 10, I'm just interested in asking, how many people did not know that it is more likely for a woman to die from a heart attack than a man? Women are more likely to die from a heart attack. And the reason is because heart attacks are associated with men that you get a heart. Something today is happening with my internet. The way in which women experience heart attacks is also different from the way men experience heart attacks. Men usually experience heart attack by their left arm is becoming numb. They're feeling that pain that is going up their arm. Women experience heart attack like heartburn. That pain that you feel at the bottom of your stomach. That is how many women die from heart attack, because they think, oh, something is going wrong with my stomach. Maybe I ate something, maybe it is acid, and then they end up dying. They don't go to seek for attention. So men are usually the ones who will be saved from a heart attack because their symptoms are very clear, and they are also known that these are the ways that people get heart attack. I don't know whether anybody would like to add something or comment on this true and false quiz that we have just done.
I mean, I thought women shared more personal information, but in retrospect, now when I look, I think, yes, it's true that men share, because if a man, for instance, wants to date a woman, especially married men, they would share some information like, oh, my wife doesn't make me happy, you know, so they go real personal, and whereas women are so guarded about that.
That is true. That is true. Thank you. Florida has raised her hand. Florida.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, my connection was, I had some challenges. I just wanted to add on the first point where women are weaker than men. I think this one is also being capitalized by the religious group, where the Bible says, you are a weaker vessel. So many people took that side to say women, because the Bible is saying women are weaker vessels, then they take a woman in every angle to be a weaker person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Chandi, you raised your hand.
Yeah, Kiran, I have a doubt with number 9. Most women are confident about managing their money, which I believe is women are more confident to manage their finance. What do you think?
Okay. Why do you say that women are more confident in managing?
I mean, like, you know, the savings and things like that, in managing home affairs, those things. She's more likely, you know, consider about other fact, and then when spent money, you know, consider other things, and then try to save more than men, I guess. So I think for me, like, with my experience, more than men, like women are more confident managing the financing.
Okay, that's
Karen?
an interesting one.
Karen, can I come in?
It's important, I think, to have that challenge. Yes, Jacob, you want to? Yeah, yes, go ahead. Go ahead,
I want to
Jacob.
I want to talk something about number 5.
Okay, just a minute. We were still trying to finish with the Chandi's
Okay.
contribution, and then you come in. Maybe somebody who has a contribution on what Chandi has just said about women being more confident.
Okay, can I start from there? Okay.
Z, you want to contribute to what Chandi said?
Yeah, I think historically, I mean, she can be right now as the development has kind of caught up with us. But I think historically, women were not given money. They were not given money to manage. So it has been something that we are growing into. I think that's where the perspective comes from.
Okay, okay, great. All right, Jacob, you said you want to say something about the.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about number 5, about women suffering from more women suffer from depression. Well, more things are only taken on women, but on the other way around, even men, okay, even more men suffer from depression so much. A case in point, men are only made, like you said before, that the way we are trained from the day go that you are not supposed to show your weaker side or what. Just like even women are beating men in the houses, and they just, whenever they get hurt, they say they got an accident, but it is from a fight. Now, when it comes to depression, a lot of things goes in the hands of, in the heads of men. Like during time of school fees, sickness is there, but you don't have money. And it is just seen from the look of a man. When you see a man is not smiling the way he used to do, or the way he's looking at is so much different, just know that there is a problem with that man. And for a woman to notice it, you have to be very careful with such kind of a man at that particular time. Because what comes in, whatever is going to say out of that time is not going to be very much likely favoring you. Then when it comes to confidentiality about keeping money, I have to hint something on that. Yes, it is true that women are more confident about handling when it comes to issues to do with money. And also, basing on the experience we have in our saving groups, you will realize that it is women who are saving more money than men. But now, if you ask yourself, where are they getting all this more money? And you look at it as if somebody is given 10,000 for home running, but they use only 3,000 and the rest is being saved. So they are confident when it comes to that. I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for these contributions. Let's move to the next slide and then see what our perceptions and what our ideas are based on. And this is something that we all know about. Why has my screen? This is something that we know about. And so we're just going to go through, then have we just done? And what we have done is that we have looked at 3 different things. They are classified under the gender role. And the gender role is the way in which we are expected to behave, the way in which we see men and women. And so when we have looked at this particular quiz, this quiz is based on social roles, and it is based on gender roles and what is expected of people. And some of these expectations, we get them, they are very unconscious because we grow up in a society that expects people to behave in a certain way. And they are so therefore seen as if they are natural. It is natural for women to be emotional. It is natural for men to be more confident. It is natural. So all of these things are said to be natural. But when we start questioning them, you see the way we have done in the last 5 minutes is question some of these things that people think are natural, that people think are biological, that have gone on for a very long time. But when they have gone on for a very long time, then they are seen as gender roles. And gender roles contribute to 2 things that we are now going to discuss. One of them is the gender stereotypes. And the gender stereotype is a belief about the characteristics of a particular category of people. When we say that women talk too much, all men are unemotional or all men are strong. That way we are using a gender stereotype, because if we start to question, then we say that, are really all women emotional or weak, or are all men strong, are all men providers? And we start saying that, no, this is not very true. But gender stereotypes result in what is an unequal relationship between men and women. So that a gender stereotype says that the masculine roles, or the way in which men are, is the better one. The way in which women are, they're weak, they're emotional, they need to be taken care of. That is seen as something that is not as important as the strength of that men are supposed to have, as the role of provider that men are supposed to have. And the way in which then gender stereotypes are seen in the society is when we are talking about sexism. When somebody says that all women are sexism. When people say that all men are sort of make one person or make one group of people have certain characteristics, and then you say that everybody is like that. But gender stereotypes are something that is so common in society that sometimes people don't even question them. For example, if we are talking about a workspace, people, when they go to an office, and in that office there are both men and women, and maybe there is a meeting going on and there is tea that is supposed to be served, you will find that sometimes the women are the ones who just wake up and go and serve everybody with the tea, even if they are not supposed to do that. I mean, everybody there in that office is a colleague, but the women are the ones who will get up to go and serve the tea. And the men will expect that they are going to have the tea served to them. Nobody is even noticing that there is something that is a little bit strange about that, because the way in which stereotype believes that women are the ones who are in that role of nurturing. Women are the ones who will therefore do the cooking and the cleaning and the serving of the tea. So gender stereotypes are demonstrated in sexism, and sometimes it is completely unconscious. But then we have what we call the gender norms. And the gender norms are more than stereotypes. Gender norms are expectations. People actually expect you to behave in a certain way. When I was growing up as a young girl, we were told don't climb trees. Girls do not climb trees. That is something that becomes a gender norm, that therefore as a female, that is not something that you are supposed to do. So it encourages something that is desirable behavior. You're told, don't do this because you're a man, don't cry. Because you're a man, don't go and help in the kitchen. Because you're a man, you're not supposed to go and sit where women are sitting. So that desirable behavior is something that the society and the culture regulates for us and tells us, this one you must do because you're female, or this one you must not do because you are female. So it expects, we get these characteristics and we learn how to behave in certain circumstances. And unfortunately, there are consequences of all of these things, whether it is the gender stereotype or the gender norms, and we shall come to them a little bit on. So let us remember that all of them are gender roles. That expectation that we have of what it means to be masculine or feminine, and what it means to be masculine or feminine, is seen in gender stereotypes and in the gender norms. So when we look at traditional gender stereotypes, this is what is then people think when you think, okay, this person is masculine, this person is feminine. What kind of a person are they? So gender stereotypes are very strongly held ideas about characteristics of all men and women, so that we are saying that all women should not be aggressive. All women are dependent on men. All women are easily influenced, and the list goes on and on and on. And then on the other hand, we expect that if somebody is masculine, then we say that they are aggressive, they are independent, they are dominant, they are not very talkative, they are tough. And so when a child or is growing up and they behave in a way that is not stereotypical of their gender, maybe a boy is saying that he's been hurt or he cries a lot and so on, you don't stop behaving like a girl. If a girl wants to do a lot of sports and she wants to go out and play, stop behaving like a boy. So these traditional gender stereotypes, what they do is that they make everybody seem the same. Because if I say that to be feminine, I have to be dependent on somebody. I have to be very submissive, very passive, very gentle. Then it means that if naturally I am not that way, then people label me as masculine. I feel that I don't fit in the society. So the traditional gender stereotypes, excuse me, which lead then to the gender norms of how people that are expected to behave. If you look at the chart that is on the left, people who say that they take most of the responsibility for this task. If you look at the red or orange, depending on which color you wish to call it, the red part is what women do. The blue part is what men do. And so this one here is trying to talk about how many men do something and how many women do that within a household. So in a household, we're talking about cooking, we're talking about household chores, we're talking about buying groceries or food, who normally goes to parent or teacher conferences, who drives children to activities, who takes care of obligations to relatives and in-laws, who makes the social plans with friends. Now, the interesting thing one is, if you look at the one on making finance and investment decisions, it tends to agree with what Chandi and Jacob and somebody else said it also, that women are more responsible for the money. And this particular chart tells us that 17% of women take most of the responsibility within the home for making finance and investment decisions, as opposed to 10% of men, which can be really interesting. They're saying that both men and women handle home maintenance or car repair, and that both men and women make major decisions on major purchases. So if we look at these gender norms, we are going to be able to say, I am sure some of you are going to be able to say that, no, this is not the way it is in my country, right? Is there anybody who would agree 100% with all these gender norms? Or who disagree?
I think more or less they apply. Yeah, it's context-based.
It's context-based. Is there anybody who can say that, no, in my country, this is not correct? Yes, Janet.
I guess it depends on your cultural setting. Like for us in the Pacific, Tonga, for example, it's the man that does all the things, including housework and cooking and all those things. So I would say it will depend very much on your cultural setting. What is acceptable in your culture? Yeah.
Okay. Anyone who would say that any one of these is not correct for my culture?
Kiran?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Handling home maintenance or car repairs. In terms of car repairs and things like that, it is not equal. Like, mostly men are taking decisions and also making decisions on major purchases. So it's slightly 9%. I think more than that, men are taking decisions on buying something for homes, like, land or the major purchases. So in my context, like women's participation is very low in terms of taking that sort of decision within the family.
Okay, okay. That's excellent. And if we look at even just the very first one, and we are saying that 59, and then we have 4% of the men saying that no, I'm the one who does this task. How true is it in many of our contexts? Because like what I mean is that I know that in my country, women, most men do not cook. Most men, especially if they are bachelors and they're staying on their own, yes, they will cook. But the minute they get into a marriage relationship or into a relationship where there is a woman, then she takes over with the doing the cooking. And so this chart is here so that we can also start to question ourselves about gender norms, because the activities that have been shown here and the percentages that have been shown here are based on a Western civilization. That we are talking about countries like the US, Canada, and so on. But when we think about many other countries, this is not actually true. And so the thing that we have to think about is that if these are the accepted gender norms in one country, but they are not the accepted gender norms in another country, then why is it that then we say that cooking is a woman's job, or taking care of the car and repairing the home is a man's job? And yet it is not the same all over. Like what has Janet just shared about Tonga, where she's saying that men take most of the responsibility for everything, whether it is taking care of the home, whether it's cooking, whether it is maintenance, and so on. And so the thing to take away from here, what I wanted to be able to show us is that this example comes from a Western perspective or a Western world. It is not necessarily the same perspective in Pacific or in Asia or in Africa or in the Arab world. It may be very different. And so when we say that men must behave in a certain way or women must behave in a certain way, it means that the society is the one that is deciding, not because that this man or this woman cannot do something. It is the society that has decided for them that this is the way you must be. If you take this same chart and you want to try and do the same study in a country, for example, you want to do this study in Asia, you will find that the results are very different. And so the expected roles of men and women in society are set by the society. And it unfortunately, it limits what men and women feel that they can do, because they are told, no, in our society, it is women who do the cooking. In our society, it is men who do the cooking. But when you go to a different country, you find that, no, it is not the same thing. And so the norms are set by a society, and that society is the one that can either keep on oppressing women and ensuring there's no gender equality, or can ensure that there is gender equality for everyone. Now, when we talk about the workforce, or when we talk about where people work, then also we want to look at the gender gaps. And if you look at the gender gaps and where men and women want to work, and where women want to work, and where men also want women to work, it means that women will spend a lot or equal time in the workplace. Women will be able to go up or to move upwards in the workplace. So when you look at gender roles in the workforce, what this chart is trying to say that if there is a society in which people are able to work, where people are okay with whether you're a man or a woman, you are able to work, it will mean that 69% of women want to be in paid work. It means that women do not want to stay at home. They want to go out and do their jobs. They want to be employed. They want to be managers in their workplace. But if you look at the right-hand side, when we're talking about what hinders women's opportunity, It means it also says that the society keeps women from doing the kind of the work that they do. Well, first of all, they say that women are in a lot of work that is not paid, the unpaid care work, like taking care of the household, taking care of the families. Women are spending more time in that work, and so they are not able to go out into the world of work. There are so many countries that do not pay men and women the same amount of money for the same work. So you're doing the same job, exactly the same job with a man, but you are being paid less as a woman. Countries do not have laws that prohibit sexual harassment and that are ensuring that everybody is working in a safe place. And so what happens in those situations is that women stay away from the world of work. So in terms of looking at gender norms and gender stereotypes, what we are saying is that when people believe certain things about women and about men and the way they should be, it affects them in terms of the society, in what they're able to do as workers, but also it affects them at home, as we have seen in the first one. So the question then to maybe wrap this up is that, why does gender stereotyping matter? Why are we supposed to be concerned about this issue as gender liaisons? Why is it our problem? Anyone can contribute? Why should we think of it as a problem?
I think gender stereotyping, it's hinder, it's barrier our work that we are doing in the society, especially economic empowerment. So the stereotyping still prevailing, and it's very, difficult to change the attitudes and the way, the behaviors, and then lots of work to implement our, the development activities in the present context.
Okay, thank you. Florida?
Just thank you, Karen, for recognizing me. Just adding on what Chande has said, gender stereotype also deprives one's self-esteem, because once you are motivated to do something, but then the society has taken it not to be of your character, then you are demotivated, you are demoralized. So this has killed a lot in women. I posted on the chat box to say what you presented is 100% exactly what happened in Malawi. There are more women who have that vision to go for, but because of the gender stereotypes, we are just stuck at the same level. So this is really an issue which needs to be, I think, put much effort on how it can be handled, because it is starting at the household level. When the child is born, there are a lot of issues surrounding. If it's a baby boy, is handled differently from a baby girl. And then even growing up, the girl is being told not behave like a man, the boy is told not behave like a woman. So these woman-man issues are really coming from the family, then it is also affecting the community, as well as taking it far to the workplace. So it's really critical. We need to, I don't know how, but then the interventions will start at the household where the child is being raised. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, Mzee, I can see your hand. Oh, Mzee disappeared. Okay, Janet. Janet, you had raised your hand. You wanted to contribute?
Yes, I think why it matters because most stereotypes are directed at women. They are mostly because it it is the belief that is placed on women, for example. And because that is a belief, it molded people's behavior, and it also directs the way they treat women, for example. So I guess that's why it matters.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, Sister Concept.
Just to add on that the stereotyping on women and men as well, because it's both.
Yeah.
It's the need for us really to give what is this awareness and capacity for those men and women who are being stereotyped like us. We are all being stereotyped along the way, but it is through our consciousness, awareness, and that it could be make them more capacitated to stop this stereotyping.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm also seeing Valerie has said that gender stereotype matters because it can easily hinder growth in both men and women. For example, a girl who wants to do a non-traditional job, for example, engineering or masonry, the doctor will be stopped because these are thought to be masculine jobs. Then Faith has also said they perpetuate inequalities in many levels. Addressing them is important. I agree with all the contributors. And it is true that when we don't look at gender stereotypes, when we assume these gender stereotypes, then we are operating in a gender blind way in which we ignore the fact that people are living a society as to how they must behave. And it becomes very difficult whether it is for a man or whether it is for a woman. So maybe just to wrap up that discussion is that one of the things that if we look at it from this level of the society is that it makes poverty and disadvantage normal. And the people who are more at a disadvantage and who are exposed to more poverty then would be feminine, because we say that as a woman, you cannot go out to work. You have to stay at home. That is your role. You must stay within the home. You cannot, even if you have been trained in a skill, you cannot use that. And so it means that more women are poor, more women are disadvantaged. It also normalizes gender-based violence, because if I am supposed to be strong while the woman is supposed to be submissive, it means that if I do anything to that woman, then it is something that is normal, because I am taking my role as a leader, as a man. I am taking my submissive role as a woman where I'm not supposed to say anything, even if I am being hurt or even if there's gender-based violence being perpetuated against me. We talked about discrimination and marginalization, and stereotypes always lead to discrimination and marginalization, where we say that because you're a man or because you're a woman, and even more so when they say because you're a man with a disability, then you're not supposed to have a proper education. Because you're a woman with disability, then you're not supposed to get married. It leads a nation on men as protectors and providers. You, the man, you're supposed to be the one to bring in the money, even the money. You're supposed to be always the provider. And then it also places a heavy burden on women as people who are supposed to be nurturing and caring, and who are going to wait for the man to work out there and to bring in the money. And yet she sees herself that if I just had a chance, I am capable. But the society is not allowing me to go out to work. The society is not allowing me maybe to have an education. The society is not allowing me to do the things that I can be able to do. And gender stereotypes at an individual level, it also, I just summarize this by saying that it affects somebody's self-efficacy. It means that my attitude is that, no, I can't do that. There are women who truly mechanics, that if something is broken, they cannot fix it. They actually have that attitude that says that I cannot deal with this task. If something is going wrong, they feel that I must run to my father, or I must run to my husband, I must run to my brother in order to be able to do or fix this thing for me. Another thing is that it also affects what we call agency. How much control do we feel that there is that I am taking over? In other words, when we are talking about gender stereotypes, many people feel that, well, after all, I'm a woman, I'm supposed to be, I am not strong if I act in a certain way. So agency, stereotyping determines what we call agency, and people's feeling control over how much control they feel that they have over their actions and their consequences. And then the other one is that ability to go out there and take control over your surroundings, what you actually do. So self-efficacy is attitude. Agency is knowledge, what you actually know. And capability is your behavior. Am I able to go out there and exercise my cultural rights, my social rights, my political rights? Am I able to advocate for myself as an individual? If I feel that as a woman, I'm not supposed to speak in a meeting, then I will never get up in that meeting to say, hey, look, there is a problem and I am having an issue. There is a development problem. Maybe the water pump has been spoiled and we need to have it fixed. I will not be able to behave in that way because of the gender stereotypes. So if we conclude, we can say that gender stereotypes is something that almost all of us have. There is really nobody who can say that in one way or another you don't have any of these beliefs, because we were brought up to have gender stereotypes. There are expectations that the society have of us, of how we should behave as a man and as a woman. And these expectations that we have within us, they affect the way in which we are able to handle situations that come in our lives. They also affect the way in which we deal with the women and girls that come into our program. What do we expect them to be able to do? Who do we expect to have the power? And the more we can train women and girls to say, you have the power, you have the ability, you have the agency, then we are going to be able to get rid of some of the stereotypes that are not very useful to development. So I want to stop here because our time is up, and I'm sure that some of us have got a lot of other things to do. And I want to thank you so much for contributing to the discussion and for really taking part in everything that we have done. I want to also finally, close this meeting by I don't know. I want to close this meeting by saying thank you. I don't know whether many of you realize, but it's exactly 1 year since I started at the Commonwealth of Learning. So last June to this June, it has been 1 year. And so it means that we have worked together for a full year. And for me, I am extremely grateful. Last June up to this June, exactly 1 year. And so I'm really, really very grateful for getting to know all of you and for getting to have you on board as gender liaisons. And then having said that, I know that some of you know we are also saying goodbye, that after this month, it is the last liaisons meeting for some of the Girls Inspire partners. So on this chart that normally starts our meetings, we have some of the people that are going to be going away, and that is the second row. We have CMES that is going to be leaving us. We have Bedari that is going to be leaving us. Spark is going to be leaving us. WDC is going to be leaving. ADPP, CYO, and Seradi are all going to be leaving to move to the Women and Girls program. Maybe I just want to give whoever would like to say something from those people I have mentioned, the Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Malawi, and Mozambique. If you would like to say something small to the gender liaisons, I know I'm ambushing you, you did not expect this, but if you'd like to say just a sentence or a word to the rest of the group.
Hi,
thank you, Karen.
Okay, let's start with Florida. I think you're the one who started first.
Yes. Thank you very much for being with us for 1 year. I think I have learned a lot from you personally, and also to all members of the Gender Liaison. This forum has built me up more specifically on how to handle gender issues in my organization, even at home. So I wish you all the best. I still feel we are still in the same family of Commonwealth of Learning, and there are some forums where we'll be meeting, chatting, and also I wish you everyone all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florida.
Hi, Karen. I'm just a bit confused. I thought this is one Commonwealth of Learning, and the Gender Liaison is part of the fabric of the Commonwealth of Learning. Anyway, this came as a shock. But having said that, I'm so grateful and congratulations to you for the year you've served us diligently and at the high standards that we have come to know, Paul. I wish everyone going forward the best of luck and hope that we will still be able to participate in these Gender Liaison meetings one way or another. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you. See, it is one Commonwealth of Learning, but now that we are having the Women and Girls program, and it's just starting, there'll be quite a lot of activities that you will be involved in, and perhaps as the partners, then you will be moving to work directly with the Women and Girls program, and you may have your own gender liaisons meeting. But I want to say that with this meeting, I would love to keep the email addresses of all the gender liaisons and invite you when we have our meetings, because we have the monthly meetings, and you're always welcome to join. You do not necessarily have to have a current contribution agreement going on with Girls Inspired to be able to join, to be able to listen to what other people are doing. And so you're always welcome to join. It's just that formally, in a very formal way, that because we have partners moving to Women and Girls, we do not know how the future is going to be. But you are always welcome to the meetings, and we shall always invite you.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And I also just want to add something like this is it was very interesting. You conducted the meeting gradually, and we didn't miss any session. So it was really good because lots of learning with other partners as well. And especially I must thank you that organizing the capacity building training with Dr. Damu, and it was really helped us to enhance our knowledge and to get certificates and to get to know about each other and sharing, and it was a really good opportunity. And thank you so much for everything. And actually, yes, we hope gender is everywhere, like so then whether we are going for a women's empowerment program or wherever, that's the cross-cutting theme for all of us. So then we will be with you all the time. Thank you, Karen, all your support.
Thank you very much, Chandi, and you have just said something important. The women, the gender and women empowerment program, some of you went through it, some of you referred people from your organizations. We will still pick it up in the coming year, maybe not necessarily 3 cohorts, and there is a little bit of review that we want to do of the whole course, to make it more exciting and to bring it up to the, the current issues, but we shall be offering it again, and then we shall let you know so that you can also invite people that you know and other organizations to come. And I know that most of you have gone through it. Okay, so perhaps because it is it's already 10 past 10 here, and which means that it is 10 past 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock for most of you. I want to say thank you so much for attending. This is full attendance of the meeting, which is very, very great and very, very nice to know that everybody has come on board and participated. I would like to encourage you, please kindly fill out the survey form from the meeting, and also listen again to the recording, share it with people who may want to, you can share it with your colleagues. This is something that we would love to have everybody learning. And with that, I want to say, have a very, very great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.